Conditionals are very common in language, and they are grammatical structures that help us express any of these ideas. Either that when certain conditions are present, these are the results, or that when certain conditions are present, these will be the results, or that if certain conditions were present, but they aren't, these would be the results, or that if certain conditions had been present, but they weren't, then those would have been the results, or a mixture of these last two. Now, don't worry, I know that this is a lot to take in a single video, so I've decided to divide this conditional series into 3 videos. In this first one, we'll be looking at 0, first and second conditional, and in the next video, part 2, we'll be looking at third conditional on its own and how to pronounce it. And in the third video, we'll be looking at mixed conditionals. Okay, so let's get started with 0, first and second conditionals. What are they? When do we need them? And what are we saying when we use them? If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and invite the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video, which will be relevant to you if you're looking to become more autonomous in your English language acquisition and use. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Tanya Meyer, and I'm an English as a foreign language teacher to adults, specializing in mindfulness practices to enhance and improve your English language learning. Mindfulness is the practice of stopping and looking deeply, which is instrumental to bringing clarity, understanding, and joy into our lives. And of course, it is from this place of spaciousness and openness and calm that we are truly able to revolutionize and transform our English skills. I'll leave a link in the description box below for you to read about the correlation between mindfulness practices and English language learning in your own context. Okay, so let's get started with 0 conditional first. 0 conditional refers to the idea that whenever certain conditions are present, these are the results. And this means that in order to express a conditional, whether it's 0, first, second, third, or mixed, then we're going to need 2 parts. The first part is the condition part, or what we call the if clause. And the second is the result of that condition, or what we call the main clause. If you're not sure about what a clause is, it's a part of a sentence, and I have filmed another video about relative clauses that I'll leave a link for you right here for you to watch later. But for now, let's just say that clauses are parts of sentences. And so with conditionals as well, we need 2 clauses because we're expressing 2 ideas, the condition and the result, or sometimes the result and the condition. So a 0 conditional could be something like, if you leave ice at room temperature, it melts. Room temperature is between 20 and 23 degrees Celsius or centigrade, and 68 to 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Ice melts when the temperature is above 0 degrees centigrade or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And so it is a fact that if you leave ice at room temperature, it melts. The condition is that you leave ice at room temperature, and the result is that it melts. So in order to express that this condition always produces this result, we need the 0 conditional. So the 0 conditional is used to express facts and things that are always true. And the formula to produce this idea is that in the if clause, we use the present simple, and in the result clause, we use the present simple as well. If this happens, this is the result. This is because that is. We can put the result first too. Ice melts if you leave it at room temperature. But if we put the result first, then we omit the comma in writing. If you stop and look deeply, you see things more clearly. You see things more clearly if you stop and look deeply. We can use the negative in either clause as well. For example, if it isn't cold enough, ice melts. Or ice doesn't melt if the temperature is cold enough. Okay, let's move on to the first conditional now. In the introduction, I said that when certain conditions are present, these will be the results. We're pretty certain that these will be the results. Pretty here, by the way, does not mean beautiful. It means quite or fairly or reasonably certain that these will be the results if these are the conditions. But we can't be absolutely sure. It isn't scientific fact, but it's a realistic possibility. For example, if I see her, I'll tell her. I'm quite sure I'll tell her if I see her in the future, but I cannot guarantee it. I could forget, but I'm pretty sure I'll tell her if I see her. The formula to create the first conditional is that in the condition or if clause, we use the present simple as the zero conditional, but in the result or main clause, we use will or the future simple, will plus the infinitive form of the verb. Will or won't for the result clause. For example, if I finish early, I'll go out for a walk. I'll go out for a walk if I finish early. In the negative, I won't go out for a walk if I don't finish early. I can also say, I won't go out for a walk unless I finish early. Unless means if not. If I cook today, I won't need to do it tomorrow. I won't need to cook tomorrow if I do so today. I can use do so if the subject and the verb are the same as the ones I've just mentioned. So, unless I cook today, I'll have to do so tomorrow. Now, as an alternative to will with first conditionals, I can also use modal verbs or an imperative. For example, if it rains, we can't have a picnic. Or if it rains, we must postpone the picnic. Or if it rains, wear your waterproof clothing. One difference you might notice between zero and first conditional is that we use zero conditional to talk about things in general, and we use first conditional to talk about specific or particular things. Is that okay? Tell you what, like this video and comment below. This is a great way of practicing your writing skills with one zero conditional sentence and one first conditional sentence from your own context. What fact can you use zero conditional with? And what will you do if a certain condition is present? I'll respond to everyone who comments. So practice in the description box. One zero conditional sentence and one first conditional sentence, okay? And I'll see you there. Right, time for second conditionals. In the introduction, I said, in the event that these were the conditions, but they aren't, these would be the results. For example, if it weren't raining, but it is, we'd go out for a walk. If it weren't raining means that it is raining in the present. If it weren't raining, I'm using the past tense here to create the second conditional, but I'm referring to the present. It is raining right now. But if it weren't, we'd go out for a walk. So we can say that we use the second conditional to talk about conditions that are not real, whether it's in the present or the future. If it weren't raining refers to a present condition. But I can also use the second conditional to refer to the future. For example, I can say, If I went on that cruise to the Adriatic coast later this year, I'd take a workshop on the law of attraction. This can be confusing because I'm using the past tense to refer to a future possibility. If I went on that cruise later this year, this means that I'm not sure if I'll go. So I'm talking about a hypothetical future, and I need to follow the second conditional formula to express this idea that isn't certain. I'm talking about a dream or a wish or something that is only a possibility in the future. The result clause or main clause in second conditionals is created with would plus the infinitive form of the verb. If I went on that cruise, but I'm not sure I'm going yet, I'd take a workshop. I'd take. So here I would is being contracted to I'd, and then take starts with a very similar sound. D and t are very similar, and the t is stronger. And so it sounds like I'm speaking in the infinitive, I take, but I'm not using the infinitive. I'm actually contracting would. I'd take. Can you hear that? I'd take a workshop on the law of attraction, because the author of the book, The Law of Attraction, will be delivering a workshop on that cruise. If I went, I would take the workshop. If I went, I'd take the workshop. Can you try it? If I went on the cruise, I'd take the workshop. Just you need to stay a little bit longer on that t, so that whoever's listening to you can hear that you're creating the second conditional. I take. Not I take. I take. There's just that little extra t in the second one. I take the workshop. What about the negative? If I didn't go on the cruise, again, this didn't go doesn't refer to the past, but to the future. If I didn't go on that cruise, I wouldn't be able to take the workshop. I wouldn't be able to take the workshop. Or I wouldn't take the workshop. If I didn't go on the cruise, I wouldn't be able to take the workshop. Okay, so there you have it. A mini masterclass on 0, first and second conditionals. Remember to like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to the channel. And invite the bell to be notified when I upload my next video, which will be on third conditionals. Not only how to use them, but how to pronounce them as well, because they can be a bit of a mouthful. And in the meantime, if you're ready to take your progress with English into your own hands, I'll leave a link for you to download my free guide, How to Revolutionize Your English, down in the description box below. It's a comprehensive guide that I wrote myself to help you become more autonomous in your learning. So if you're wondering what concrete actions you can take, in addition to watching films and series on Netflix, to really transform your English skills, then download the guide for many, many ideas to help and motivate and inspire you. By downloading the guide, you'll be joining my mailing list, and this means that you'll be receiving weekly emails from me in English, hint, hint, reading practice, about how to improve your English skills. It's a win-win. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.